Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast. It's the podcast where digital discussions, the worlds of pop culture, social media, sports, music. We talk about it all here. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. Twitter, everyone knows me as PD Beats. Really excited to be joined by an actor, director, probably one of the busiest 18-year-olds out there right now. We're Reid Miller. Reid, welcome to Popternative.
Hey man, what's up? I'm glad to be here. This is exciting.
No, absolutely. Now, usually we allow our guests to plug at the end of the show, but because you've been doing so many cool things, why don't we do the plugs right now? You're working on so many cool things. You're in a lot of cool shows. You're directing. Lay it on us.
Okay. So I just finished a film called Freddy, which is it's like E.T. meets Transformers. It's really cool. That one's a little more of a family-friendly, like, action-adventure movie, and it's supposed to come out around sometime mid-next year, like, in theaters, so be on the lookout for that. The trailer's out right now, so you can just watch that on YouTube, actually.
Okay.
I just wrapped on seasons 2 and 3 of my show, Play by Play, which I'm the lead in, and you can watch season 1 on Go 90, and that's basically like, for those of you who haven't heard of it, it's basically Verizon's version of Netflix, so they're getting into the digital content game now,
Everyone's getting into it.
Everyone's getting into it, Amazon started it, and then Netflix and Hulu, it's crazy. But, season 1's on there, and it's basically about Pete Hickey, who I play, and it takes place in the 90s. It's a sports rom-com. And it's basically about his life, and he wants to be a football player, but he's too small, so he ends up being the kicker. And, it's really about his life and growing up and dealing with, the struggles of high school in the 90s, and it's called Play by Play, actually, because it's narrated by future me, who is actually a ESPN news broadcaster.
That's a really cool concept.
Yeah, it's neat. I remember when I got the audition for it, and I was looking over the script, and I remember thinking how cool it was, because did you ever see Malcolm in the Middle?
Of course, man.
I've seen like every episode like 10 times, and I remember when I was younger, I was like, I would love to do a show like that, like Malcolm in the Middle, and this is literally like, it's so much like that, so I'm very lucky that they chose me.
When did you decide that you wanted to do this stuff, the entertainment stuff, like the entertainment industry, the acting, the directing? Like, what kind of content out there kind of drove you to wanting to be an actor, and when did it all start for you? Because you're young, you're 18, so
yeah,
I find that, like, really, you've done so much. Like, no, there's a lot of fantastic, like, child actors out there, like teen actors, but it's like you're also like directing. Like, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I have a pilot I'm directing that I wrote and is also starring in. We start shooting that at the end of February. We shoot that for a couple of days, and my co-star in it is actually, I've been good friends with her for years now. I met her when I first got out here. Her name is Devore Ledridge. She's one of the stars on Disney Channel, and it's like, I've always wanted to be in the industry, and I've always been writing, and I've always been making stop motion movies, and, just really working with what I had to make what I wanted. And it was good for me at the time. I was like 12, 13, or even 11, I think.
I just find it funny. I'm sorry. Like, it was good for me at the time, Like, usually you have... No, just like, I talk to people that are, like, in their 30s. It was good for me at the time, when I was 17, 18. I'm sorry, continue, but it's just...
No. It's funny. It is, though, because it's like, at the time, I was working with, the small little, like, white camera that literally just for photo taking, that my sister had... my parents got it for her, and she never used it, and then she gave it to me, and she was like, I don't know what you're doing with it, but take it. And I started, making stop motion movies, and there was this one, actually, where I had like a couple of shots that were actual videos. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so cool. It's a combination of stop motion and like video. Like at that time, that was what blew my mind. But I think what got me like wanting to be an actor is, I'd have to say, the Marvel films, because I was 8 when Iron Man came out, and so those were starting to come out when I was like at that kind of influential age.
Yeah, it was a good time. Like it was the perfect time for you to be exposed to it.
Exactly. And you know, when I was a kid, and again, this is probably like every kid's dream when you're like when you're really young, but is to be like a superhero, right?
When I was a kid. Okay, continue. You're a kid now, kinda.
You know what I mean?
I know,
you know, when I was like a child, like an infant.
No, I know. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
It's but yeah, I wanted to be a superhero, you know? And like every other friend of mine, you know, it was like, oh, I'm gonna be a Power Ranger, a superhero, or whatever. You know, you wanted to be something that that represented justice and was good and whatever.
Oh, 100%.
You wanted to be something that was better than you. Yep. You know, you wanted to be better. And, you know, I looked up to all those heroes. I read all the Spider-Man comic books. I read, you know, like Doctor Strange was some of my favorite comic books. Iron Man is my favorite character. And, you know, when those films started coming out, because I didn't start acting until I was 13.
Yeah.
But when those started coming out, you know, like Iron Man, even Hulk, you know, Captain America, Thor, that started putting me more in that direction of not just wanting, because originally I knew I wanted to be in the entertainment industry, but I didn't know in what capacity.
Yep.
You know, like I was like, I want to do it, but I don't know, like, exactly what part I want to do. You know,
absolutely.
But also, it would be cool to play these other characters, but I had never experienced that. And so that's what really started getting me into wanting to be an actor, was kind of that sole purpose of becoming a superhero or playing like action movies are like my favorite genre, like John Wick. Like my web series directing is very much like John Wick. And, you know, I love action movies, so I'd have to say that's what got me into it. But I, you know, when you're that young and you live in a small Texas town, being an actor is not necessarily the easiest thing, because where are you supposed to go? What are you supposed to do? How do you start, right? So there was this, they're still around. There's this company called The Arts, and they basically go around, and I don't know if you've heard of them, and whoever's watching this, I'm sure some of you have heard of them, but they basically travel around the world to small towns, like in Alabama, small towns in Texas, like anywhere, and even in Alaska. And they're looking for talent, like people who can sing, act, dance, whatever you can do in the entertainment industry, they're looking for. And we heard their commercial over the radio, and my parents were like, maybe we should have him audition, you know, because he's been wanting to do this for a long time. And I didn't know, like, I didn't know if this was legit or not. You know what I'm saying? Because like something coming to a small Texas town looking for that, it just seemed really weird. But I went and I did a monologue and I flubbed it and I started crying on stage. And but the owner, she basically, I don't know like how she made this decision, but even though I flubbed my monologue, she saw something in me enough to bring me to Orlando, to show me to all of these agents and managers, along with like a select few of other people. And after training with them for a couple of months, I went, I did my monologue, and I ended up winning almost every award for my gender in acting. And that was... like, it was shocking because we, you know, again, I had never done the acting thing, and to see the positive feedback was really what triggered us into being like, I think this is what we need to do.
Yeah, no,
you know,
that's crazy. No, for sure. I'm happy you brought up the superhero thing because it kind of, it's like you knew the questions I was gonna ask, but. which is impossible because I don't really prepare questions, but that's another conversation. But okay, so if you look at 2017, I thought there was a lot. Well, actually, no, like the last couple of years, like I'd say like 2014, 15, and on. There's been a lot of booms, like things that I think have taken off, right? So we mentioned like binge watching and like digital media streaming, like that's one of them. Yoga was like a big one, right? Like wrestling is a huge one. Like a lot of indie wrestlers are making a living as indie wrestlers now and don't need like full-time jobs or jobs on the side, right? But another really big boom is the geek culture, like the Comic-Con culture. Like it's just, I'm not even saying that it was not big to begin with, but I think with like Star Wars, Marvel, it's just like it's bigger than ever.
And it's bigger than ever because it's like they're making fans out of people who weren't fans of it before. Like they're making fans out of the movies, not necessarily the comic books. And I had read the comic books, but again, like I think like Spider-Man and Iron Man and Doctor Strange were those three for me that I like loved, and like they nailed the casting for those characters. And you're right, yeah, the geek culture has like within the past 17 years, it has just exploded, which is good.
It is good. It's amazing, and like the amount of conventions, the amount of podcasts, people. I mean, so it's a double-edged sword with the whole concept of there being a lot of content out there. Read, like I think it is a double-edged sword. Like a lot of things, like social media, I think is a double-edged sword because you look at both sides of it, pros and cons. But like the thing is, for a guy like yourself, like an up-and-coming actor, who's auditioning and getting in there, you can look at it two ways. You can look at it one, wow, there's so many shows out there, this is an opportunity for me. Or you can look at the other way, which is like, wow, there's so many shows and there's so many other people now that are going to compete.
It's definitely one of those things that I've thought about a lot. It is a double-edged sword because for me, it's like, again, me trying to like get in Marvel somehow. Like, there are all these characters, these new young characters that they're casting for. And it's like, that's amazing. That gives me an opportunity to get in there and maybe even play one of these characters. But also, you're right. It's scary because there are probably hundreds of other people, not just like me, but that kind of have that same look as me and feel as me that are going to go in too. Mm-hmm. And so as an actor, and it's one of those things where, I have to be able to do something that separates me from everyone else.
No, 100%.
And that can be like something crazy too. Like I could show up with my hair all done and I could dress like the character. I could do this or that just so they really see me like that character. Like if you look at Dacre Montgomery and his audition for Stranger Things 2, that dude, I mean, he had music, he was dressed in costume, and he did the audition in a Speedo, and he got it. And I know tons of friends that went in for that role, and it's like, yeah.
I just saw a movie with him recently called Better Watch Out. I don't know if you saw that.
Ooh, I love him. What's that? What is it?
It's kind of almost like, I wouldn't say a parody, but it's like a Home Alone horror type movie. Like
I have seen the trailer for that.
Yeah, and he's in it. He's in that movie. So it's like, yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. He's in that movie.
It's a Christmas movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the trailer for that when I was shooting play-by-play. I remember it came out, and I was like, I'm a little on the fence, but I like the violence.
Are you a horror movie fan?
Certain films I am. Okay. It really depends. Like,
do you get scared?
I don't really. Like, it's really interesting. Like, I have a lot of friends that get terrified at horror movies, and I'll sit there and like they'll do jump scares or whatever, and I'm like, this isn't scary.
You know what my coping mechanism was? And I think like I tell a lot of like directors and writers of horror movies this, and they get like upset, and they're like, "Aw, like you fought a flaw." Like because I used to get scared of them. But you know what I would do? I'd look at like, so The Grudge scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
That movie is
so Sarah Michelle Gellar, right, who's in that. I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my god, it's scary. But then I think of like the fact that these are like famous actors and actresses in it, so I'm like, it's okay, it's only Buffy.
Yeah,
or it's only
Buffy.
she's in Scooby-Doo, it's fine, it's not scary, and it worked. Like, yeah, for like Amityville Horror, right, like Ryan Reynolds, I'm just like, it's okay, it's just it's Van Wilder. Pardon me?
He's in that? Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, he's in the remake from the early 2000s. He's in that, absolutely.
What?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, he is. 100%. And like, I was just like, it's okay, it's Van Wilder. Like, so I use that and it helped me. But I just love, I'll tell you what I love about horror movies. I'll tell you what I love about thrillers and drama in general. And, you know, shows that could kind of put all that together. That's like the best recipe because you got everything out of it. The boom and the creativeness of horror movies the past couple years has been phenomenal. I mean, it's like horror, like you look at It, you look at the Insidious movies, you look at some of the movies that are coming out right now. It's insane. And it's like what I think it is, it's the combination of everything. Because horror movies have a little bit of everything in them. There's a little bit of comedy in them in some regards too.
That's true, yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a horror movie that doesn't have a little bit of comedy.
Yeah, and I think so and it kind of segues perfectly to my next question. What is the ideal project that Reid Miller would like to work on besides Marvel? Ha! Got you.
You're like, ha, got him.
Because you were going to say Marvel.
Yeah, I was going to say Marvel. I think the ideal project...
That's not Marvel.
This is tough.
Okay, I know.
Can I name three?
Yeah.
Okay. First one absolutely would be the next Fast and Furious movie.
Oh.
Because remember Brian O'Connor had a kid,
mm-hmm.
and he's supposed to become a character as well as Dom's son. Oh. They're both going to be characters. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Universal, hit me up. You know, like I'm here, I'm ready to go. So I guess like coming into the Fast and Furious franchise at some point. I love those movies, by the way. Doing a Mad Max movie. Like after Fury Road, I saw that 3 times in the theaters, and I was sweating bullets each time. Like, I was like, this is insane. A third one. We'll do something sci-fi. Like, I would love to do...
I just wanted one. You were like, I'm going to give you 3, and then you can't even think of the third.
Okay, a sci-fi action thriller, like something like maybe like Mission Impossible.
I'm surprised you did not say Stranger Things.
I'm not into that show, to be honest.
Oh my god.
I love the first season.
Come on.
I'm not a fan of the second season.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like fan or not, they ask you to be on it. Like, come on.
Oh, I mean, like, if they wanted me to be on it, of course I'm gonna say yes. but I'm just saying that, like, okay, so I had this conversation with my co-star from Play by Play. Her name's Ellie Jo Trowbridge, and she's amazing, and she's in love with Finn Wolfhard, right? And so she calls me out of the blue, and I'm writing, like, I'm in the zone, and she's like, "Why don't you like Finn Wolfhard?" And I'm like, and I was like, "You're only asking me this because you're in love with him." And she's like, "No, I just want to know why you don't like Finn Wolfhard." And we had this like 40-minute conversation about why I wasn't a fan of like the second season. And like, I think the actors are great. Like, I think they really they just really pull everything in, you know, and they leave it all out there. I just wasn't a fan of some of like certain aspects of it.
No, absolutely.
But I do think that it was good.
No, for sure, man. Well, I think we'll wrap up here, but Reid, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Like,
yeah, dude, of course, this was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Where can people follow you on social media?
You can follow me on The Real Reid Miller, which is on Instagram, and my name spelled is Reid Miller, Miller, because people can misspell my name.
Perfect.
And you can find me on Twitter. I'm actually gonna look at my phone so I don't give you a wrong.
It's The Reid Miller on Twitter.
It is.
Yeah.
I think so. Right. Yes. You can follow me, The Reid Miller, on Twitter, and be on the lookout for my pilot. It's called The Hit. We're shooting that at the end of February, and you can find that on Amazon
Perfect. That's awesome. Well,
yeah, man.
thank you so much, and all the best for the rest of 2018, man.
Yeah, man. You too.
It's time. It's time. It's time. Like it's funny because it's like everyone seems so like ready to go. You know, like it's a new year.
Yeah,
Everyone's
I'm ready. I've been here for like a month on vacation. I'm like, I'm done. Let's go.
Like, absolutely. Yeah, perfect, man. Well, it's good. This has been Popternative. You catch previous episodes Popternative, video versions of the episodes on YouTube, so subscribe there. Audio only versions on iTunes and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Popternative.com for brand new content as well. Until next time, this is PD Beats and Reid Miller signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.